Today, we actually have something that could very well be true, and I'm going to explain why I actually believe this leak. As always, a big thumbs up on the video is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, let's get into it. So this person, ACCNGT, basically was the person who leaked the new Star Wars Quantum game, Star Wars Eclipse. So he's got some credibility behind his name, at least some. I don't know his entire history, but at least when it comes to the Star Wars game, he was right about those leaks. So he tweeted this right here about GTA 6. So it says, some people don't realize how chaotic the development is. I really think there will be disappointment for many people for some aspects, of course, not the graphics side. And then he goes to say that if the game is announced this year, 2021, or early 2022, which is Q1 of next year, we can really be worried. Now, I'm not trying to put on a character. I'm not trying to put on an act. I'm not trying to be funny. I genuinely mean this when I say this. Reading this gives me goosebumps. Do you know why? Well, it's simply because the fact that GTA 5 is such a great game. Despite whatever people think about the online component, I love GTA 5 as a whole. It is a great game with a ton of content. And just thinking about, you know, just fantasize right now for you know, in your own minds right now, what you would want a Grand Theft Auto 6 to look like with the graphics and the detail and the story and the mechanics. You start to think like, whoa, like there are so many possibilities. And so the reason why I get chills, the reason why I get goosebumps reading stuff like this is because I just think about how there's a chance that Grand Theft Auto 6 could very well end up being a disaster. I know it's Rockstar Games. I know they put out quality products. And despite what you think about what they've been doing recently, you know, especially with their Grand Theft Auto trilogy and what they've been doing with GTA Online, there is no doubt that, you know, Rockstar, they put out quality. But people need to remember that the lead writer for pretty much all of Rockstar Games left the company not too long ago. So things aren't the same at Rockstar. You know, like it's not the same like it used to be. So there is a chance that they could simply just cash grab with GTA 6. Now, again, we know nothing about the game. This is just my prediction. I'm not saying I'm right, not saying this is confirmed, not saying that this game is going to be bad. I just feel like there is a possibility that everything I just listed could very well end up being true. And on top of that, when you put it all together, you have to put yourself in the shoes of a Rockstar developer. Years ago, back in 2013, you released GTA 5, one of the greatest video games of all time, one of the biggest video games of all time. And now you have social media, everybody online putting all of this pressure on you for you to make the next big Grand Theft Auto game. And you can't just make a new Grand Theft Auto game, you have to make a GTA game that is much bigger and better than its previous game, GTA 5. It's stressful. Think about it. Having to top your last game that is one of the best-selling video games of all time, that is very challenging and very stressful. And we don't know anything about the game until Rockstar officially puts something out, or if there's a, you know, crazy trusted leaker who starts leaking concept art or leaking cutscenes or whatever. I still think GTA 6 is going to be, look, if the game is as half as good as GTA 5, I think it'll be a crazy good seller. Regardless, you know, despite everything I said, what are your guys' thoughts on Grand Theft Auto 6? Again, I really had to pull myself together to make this video because I don't like talking about GTA 6. I know nothing about the game, and I don't like talking about games that I know literally nothing about. But again, I wanted to cover this leak specifically because this guy does have some credibility behind his name. And, you know, I also kind of believe this myself because, again, when you put two and two together, it kind of makes sense as to why Rockstar is struggling a little bit with the development of GTA 6.
Alright guys, so we need to talk about a very interesting leak for Grand Theft Auto 6 that was posted on 4chan the other day, and this has blown up. It has been all over social media, it's been all over forums, it's been all over websites. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to find out if this thing is real, if it's fake, if it's somewhere in between. Let's go ahead and jump into it. The first thing I do when I look at something like this is it grammatically correct? Does it make sense in terms of sentences and punctuation? And it kind of does. Maybe this person's first language is not English, so I'm going to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt there. They've been working at Rockstar for 5 years, if this is indeed true. So they've probably been working on GTA 6 since the very beginning, if that was the case. Like, let's assume they really started working on GTA 6 after Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. That was over 3 years ago. So if he started 5 years ago, definitely in the early workings of the game, and maybe GTA 6 officially started back in 2013 when Rockstar completed the game for the first generation it was on. But we know that it has since then come out for PlayStation 4 in that generation, then PC, and then this year in 2022, it's going to come out again. So who knows what's going on there. But he says he's been enjoying the development process. He says the quality of the game is going to be amazing. We'll take a look at the screenshot in a little bit. They say they're 80% development. Now, if that's the case, I don't know what that means. If that's good news for the release date, bad news for the release date, because I don't think each portion of development percentage-wise is the same. Like, I would imagine the last 10% is like really nailing down the nitty-gritty, the fine details, whereas the first 10% might be like a rough draft, like getting the story and the characters and the map where the game is going to take place. So I don't even know what to make of 80% content for the game. There's still so many big features to implement. It looks like they've done lots of testing for the open world and heist, although I'm not sure what that means. Like, of course we know there's going to be new features in GTA 6. With the biggest challenge, though, being that they have a solid and cohesive environment that allows them to work and play with freedom. I don't know what this means. It sounds so weird. And we know that GTA San Andreas was a success because of, like, GTA's open world. Like, that to me just seems so odd. And then he basically ended by just saying, I'm glad to be a part of the development team. I'm just really confused by that entire thing. You guys can let me know what you think about it in those comments down below. I don't know. Let's take a look at the screenshot that this guy ended up getting here. It's this right here, which looks to be like we're out in the ocean. We're looking in towards the city skyline with the clouds and the sky in the background. Now, in case you guys are wondering what city this is based off of, it's actually Miami. That's right. That is downtown Miami, which feeds into the rumors that this is going to be in Vice City, which is fictional Miami. Essentially, every rumor that you've seen so far, it has us going back to Vice City. I mean, for the most part, it's the only main city that does not have an HD version. We have HD Liberty City, HD Los Santos. I mean, technically, we don't have HD Las Venturas and San Fierro, but you guys get the drift there. So it would make sense for Rockstar to go back and remaster and remake that city, put Vice City in the HD era. Now, what's weird about this is there's actually a real-life photo that's very, very similar to this. Now, let's just assume this is real right now. There's no guarantee that it is. If this is real, you would think that Rockstar would want to try and model this as correctly as possible, but it really aligns up with this image right here as well. It almost looks like they just sort of edited a real-life photo to make it look more like a Grand Theft Auto game. Now, if you just compare the two images, most of the buildings are exactly the same as the real-life shot, excluding the two white buildings to the right of the middle shot. It seems like they might have been flipped horizontally and then added back in order to make the shot look different from the original. But other than that, most all the buildings are in the exact same positioning as real life. So it might be possible that the original uploader took the source photo themselves to avoid reverse image search. So for example, we could like plug this into Google and be able to see where it originally came from. So they might have added their own water and clouds, or took it from another game or image, like maybe from Microsoft Flight Simulator or something like that. Now, also, just playing devil's advocate, if this is a real photo, it does look like a game and not like it was taken in real life. Now, going back to what he said, I took this screenshot during a Rockstar employee event in September. So that would have been 2 or 3 months ago. And he was just able to take this random screenshot. Like, did he have access to it on his computer? Because it does not look like it was taken from either a smartphone or a camera. It literally looks like it was directly captured from a PC or a console or whatever this would have been playing on. And I don't know how he would have gotten that, or had anyone had the ability to do that, knowing Rockstar and how Loctite they are. A couple of other things that I've noticed here. It looks like if this is true, we're going to have another skyscraper that's under this infinite construction. So if we thought the Mile High Club was bad, well, we've just got a 2.0 version